So great, ready to go here. My name is Uli Kastner. I'm the CEO of myhotelshop, and today's topic is the webinar around KPIs for the online business or for your website. Just to clarify what KPI means, KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. So for those who haven't heard it, which means in the end of the day, what are really the key numbers, the key figures to look at to really analyze if your website is performing well or not. This is what it's all about, because we noticed for a lot of our clients and hotels that they have no proper reporting around the website in place. I'm not sure how it is about you, but obviously with many hotels, we have channel reporting around different channels. We have a lot of reporting in our PMS, but there is no specific reporting and numbers that actually show us transparently how well the website is performing. This is obviously always down to our own opinion, what KPIs we think is important. I'm sure there are many professionals out there who might have a different view on things, who might also have a different opinion on things. So obviously this is just out of our own experience. Nevertheless, I've been doing this around for the last 20 years. So I think there's a fair share of experience within myhotelshop that we can talk about stuff like that. So let's dive right into it, because obviously we all want to know what it means for a website to be successful. If you look at this, let me just make this a little bit bigger. Hold on, there you go. So now you should see a bigger screen. Yeah. So basically, if you want to get your website's performance up, and this is the first way to look at it, it's quite simple, because on a website you have visitors, so traffic, and you have a conversion rate, which means the amount of people in percentage that come to your website and actually do make a booking on your website. So basically spend money. Quite similar to a supermarket. You have people coming into the supermarket, and then people move through the cashier desk to actually pay out. Unfortunately, on websites, it's not as easy as in a supermarket, because people have to go through the cashier. But on the other side, on the website, people can just click and go without you making them forced to go through the cashier place. Nevertheless, you still have conversions, which are obviously much lower, usually in the range of 1 to 5%. And the third KPI that is quite important is how much people actually buy. Again, like in a supermarket, if they buy one piece of cheese or if they buy a whole family package of food. So obviously, this can influence heavy the performance on your website. If you look at it, if you increase your traffic, if you increase your conversion, and if you increase your shopping basket, that will create more revenue. Nevertheless, it could also mean that if you increase your traffic and you decrease your conversion, that you end up being at zero and nothing happens. So these are the three levers. And if you look at those three levers, the strategy behind your activity around your website should always be of how can I increase these three things and how do I measure them? The problem around that, nevertheless, is that those numbers, if you look for them and if you want to have a reporting that is actually putting all these numbers together, that we have not one single source of data. Potentially, your traffic is measured by Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a great tool to see how many people are on your website. You're also able to measure bookings and revenues through Google Analytics, but for that you need to have the correct configuration, which is something we do for clients. But nevertheless, we still experience a lot of problems because Google Analytics is never 100% correct. There's no cancellation calculated out of the revenue. You have cookie blockers where people don't let Google Analytics cookies measure them. You might have problems, for example, if someone pays via PayPal, that tracking gets lost. So there are many reasons why Google Analytics is never 100% accurate. So if you want to have a reporting that is 100% accurate and not influenced by any technical faults, you need to look usually at the performance of your booking engine. So you're going to the reporting section of your booking engine. But the booking engine, nevertheless, also has traffic numbers, because the booking engine is only one piece of your website and they don't measure traffic across the whole website. So in a way, if you want to put traffic and conversions together, you need to go to Google Analytics, pick the traffic, go to your booking engine, pick the revenue, the bookings, and the room nights. And that itself gives you obviously the shopping basket if you have the math right, and I will show you a reporting in a minute. Nevertheless, to come down, because we wanted to look at what is really important. So if you want to increase the revenue on your website, these three numbers are basically important. If you look at the shopping basket itself breaks down into average daily rate and length of stay. So to increase your shopping basket, you can also obviously do it by either increasing your rates or increasing the length of time that people stay in your hotel. And then if both go up, then your shopping basket will again even go up further. As I said, your problem is with too many data sources. I just mentioned that we usually pick up data from different versions and put them into an Excel, and I will show you a report in a minute. One thing worthwhile mentioning is don't or take results or numbers out of your PMS with care, because many PMS providers have reporting around channels and also around your website, but it's usually arrival date. Arrival date means people who, if you pull a report for January, these are people who stayed in January, who booked on your website anytime in the past. Nevertheless, we are in e-commerce, so for us, it's not important who stayed in a hotel, but we have traffic on the website today, so we want to know who booked today for the future. So from an e-commerce perspective, you also always need to look at book data and not at arrival data. So that can obviously differ heavily. If you have a hotel somewhere in the leisure area, in a summer sun area, the arrivals in January might be very low, but the bookings might be very high because people book in January their summer holidays in July and August. So we always look at booked data. Nevertheless, if you bring up those numbers to your boss might say, great, we increase the traffic, we increase the conversion, but you can even see that the increase in revenue is there, but he still might not be happy because he doesn't really know if that was achieved for a reasonable cost, right? Because he might say, well, I have a website, but if I get the booking through booking.com, I pay 18 or 20%. Maybe my website is much more important, much more expensive. So obviously, the next thing is what does really success mean? So if you look at success, usually people always say return of investment. Yes, there is a number you can look at. I personally prefer an effective commission on the website, which in the end is a quite simple calculation. It's the cost of the website divided by the revenue generated on the website. But what is the cost of your website? And this is something, again, you need to pick up from different sources. You might have marketing costs. These are costs that we have, for example, on myhotelshop, when we spend money on Google and we spend money on Trivago. This is a marketing cost. Or anything else, the creation of the website might be, or creation of content. That kind of things can be marketing-related costs. And then the other side, you have infrastructure costs. Infrastructure costs is, for example, the cost for your booking engine, which might cost you 150 or 200 euros a month, or hosting, or your domain, or your SSL certificate, or agency providers who charge you money for their services. If myhotelshop, for example, does campaign management for you, you pay a monthly fee for the campaign management. That itself, again, is also considered a cost, but it's an infrastructure cost. So you need to put down these two costs and then put them together, divide them by the revenue your website makes, and then you basically get an answer on how effective your website really is. Last question on that, nevertheless, is when you look at your website, what actually does revenue mean? Is revenue only your rooms that are booked online? Maybe also people come on your website and send you an email request. Maybe people call you on the telephone and then book. So those bookings, that revenue that was generated actually came through the website, but didn't come through the channel website. And that's potentially something also you want to measure. Also, if people send, for example, requests for proposal on mice or groups, or they make a wellness reservation or a restaurant reservation, or maybe they book a voucher. So these kind of things can be conversions too and can be revenue too. So that is something, if you want to even dig deep dive on that, and if you have a hotel that has all these kind of products, that you look at these kind of things in more detail. So much about theory. Let's look at a typical report that we usually do together with our clients. If you look at these reports, and let me make it a little bit bigger, on those reports is something, again, we go back to the good old Excel. And you can see now on the left side, you can see the times of numbers that we do. Here you can see on the left side, we start with the unique visit. And this is, again, a number we pull out of Google Analytics. And you can see every month in 2014, the hotel had around 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 visitors a month. In total, 80,000. So then the blue lines, you can see here, the blue lines, so 3 lines, bookings, room nights, and revenue, we take out of the booking engine provider. So the booking engine provider in that case provides us with a reporting, we copy paste it, put it into the thing, and now all the other formulas are automatically put in. So you can see bookings divided by traffic is your conversion rate. Shopping basket is revenue divided by booking. Average daily rate is revenue divided by room nights. Your length of stay is room nights divided by booking, and so on and so forth. So that is obviously the way to actually break it down. And then you can go back and you can look on a monthly basis how these numbers develop. And you can go and see if traffic is going up or down, conversion rates are going up or down, and then basically see how your website is performing. If we go down in that case, and this is a real hotel that we are looking at. This is a hotel we have in one of the biggest cities in Germany, where we started to work with them in 2014, and then at the end of 2014, and we looked at it and we said, okay, now we need to start making things different because we believe that the performance of the website is not good enough. So looking at that, we were, okay, what can we do? So from a strategic perspective, we again said, okay, we need to increase traffic by spending more money on marketing. But we also need to relaunch the website, and we also need to relaunch the booking engine because we need to get a new booking engine because the ones we had were not really good. So now we have that on a conversion rate of 0.96 and traffic around 80,000. So what happened, and this is something you can see if you scroll down in 2015, we increased the traffic from 80,000 to 125,000 and the conversion rate from 0.96 to 1.89. That itself generated an extra revenue of 500,000 euro more than last year. So we went up from 270 to 770. So 500,000 more revenue through the website. And by the way, that revenue we almost exclusively shifted over from Booking.com. So we took the revenue from Booking.com and it went over to the website. And now the interesting question is, what is the cost behind it? And I come into that in a minute. Nevertheless, looking at that, you can also, again, look at it year over year. And again, the year after, we were like stable on traffic, but again, we increased conversion rate. So revenue went up to 950,000. The year after, again, traffic actually went down a bit, but we increased conversion rate again. So year over year over year, you could see, okay, there's stuff happening. And the report shows us what are we doing and what is the impact. For example, on that hotel, we were changing the booking engine over the time of between 2015 and today. We changed the booking engine 3 times, and we changed the website. We relaunched the website 2 to 3 times, and this is obviously always measured through the web report what the impact really was. So you can always see whenever, for example, we changed the booking engine. Here in that case, we changed the booking engine in July 2018. And there you can see that we had a conversion rate of 2.9 in the first 6 months, and the year after, when you look at the conversion rate of the new booking engine, we were at 3.5. So immediately we could see, look, a new booking engine really decreased conversion rate significantly year over year. So that is quite important because this can show very transparently how your website is performing. You can break it down, and then on a monthly basis, and now that's the important part because reporting itself is just patient, but you can't do anything without it if you don't work with it. You need to look at it on a monthly basis and need to see what's happening here. And then it's always the same thing, and the way we do it with our clients at the beginning of the new month, we look at the old months, we look at did traffic go up or down, did conversion go up or down, and did shopping basket go up and down. But now the big question is, what happened if something went up or down? For example, here in this hotel, you can see in May 2019, the conversion rate went down from almost 3.7% to 2.8%. So we lost a significant amount of conversion in May over the previous month. What happened? Now it's time to go into Google Analytics because this is now the time of the analysis where you need to go down and deep dive into different tools. And for those tools, you have different tools like Google Analytics, also like myhotelshop, that show you if something particularly went wrong on your website or with your traffic. In that case, nevertheless, nothing went wrong. So we made an analysis. Everything was the same. We didn't change anything on the website. We didn't change anything with the marketing campaigns. Still, the conversion went down. Here, we noticed that all of a sudden the hotel was extremely well booked. So the occupancy rate was very high. It was a great spring, so May was really full, June was really full, so people were trying to book, but they couldn't because there was no availability. That also can reduce the conversion rate because simply people get a negative response on their searches. For that, it's quite interesting if a hotel website can provide you with a statistic around negative conversion. This is something we cannot have in this report because only booking engines can provide it. Many don't. but some do. And then you can see if you're negative conversion, which means the amount of requests that result in a zero response because it's sold out, obviously, if this is increasing your conversion rate, your overall conversion will decrease. So these kind of analysis you need to do to show, okay, what's happening. Was it a revenue management problem? Was it a technical problem on the website? Was it a problem on the booking engine? Is it a content issue? Was it a market issue? And there again comes a great value when you work with guys like us at myhotelshop, because obviously we can also give you benchmark around your numbers. We usually have enough hotels in every city to tell you if this is something specific for you or if this hits the whole city or the whole country. So if we can tell you in a benchmark, hey, you're performing that well and your competitive set is performing that well, that could potentially help you to understand if the problem was with you or if the problem was external in the market. So this is basically quite important setup for your marketing campaign and for your website performance. This report is giving you all the numbers that you need. Nevertheless, still your boss isn't happy, right? Because still wants to know, hey, we spent money on that website. Did we invest it wisely? Are we profitable? Is this better and more rewarding than a booking I get through an OTA? So for this, we have the second part. We call it cost structure. And it's a quite simple report again. We say, okay, we have the revenue up here. And then we have marketing costs. Yeah, and in the marketing costs, we break down the costs that the hotel spends on all the different placements. So you can see on Trivago, 1,000, 2,000, and TripAdvisor, 3,000, and AdWords. So they spend different amounts of money every month. In total, on average, this hotel spends around 10,000 euro a month. Purely on marketing, which is buying traffic, right? And again, buying traffic increases your traffic, and through increasing of traffic, you increase your revenue. Nevertheless, there's also infrastructure costs, like you can see here. There's costs for an AdWords agency, in that case, which is us. And then you have a booking engine, which is a monthly fee, which is always the same. Or you have a chat maybe on your website that costs you money. And obviously, like I said, the myhotelshop fee. You might wonder why the myhotelshop fee is always different every month. It's quite simple because we work success-based. Only if your website revenue goes up, we charge you more money. If your website revenue stays low and goes down, we charge much less money than we usually do. But that again is your infrastructure costs. So everything that is connected with your website but is not marketing. This again comes down to a total cost, in that case 13,000, and cost divided by revenue is your commission, right? And this is exactly the number we benchmark it. And every month I sit with those hotels, or with this hotel in specific, and this hotel tells me, look, I want you to do my website. I want you to optimize my website, to optimize my usability, to optimize my marketing campaign. And you can spend as much money as you want, as long as the cost that I see on this report is below 15%. Because every percent he's below 15% is more profitable than he gets through the OTAs. So the goal is obviously to have that line always below 15%. And then the hotel comes to us and says, you can spend as much money as you want on marketing. And that's quite interesting because many hotels are always on a budget. They are always looking at the website and say, okay, my budget is 10,000 euro a month. But maybe one month you can spend 11,000, the other month you can spend 9,000. So next thing is also, if booking doubles their revenue, you also pay them twice as much as commission. So why wouldn't you do it on your website? Because you don't have the transparency of reporting. So in that case, with that report, we can always go to every owner and show them, look, this is how much money you make on your website, and this is the amount of money you spend. It's cheaper than OTAs, so it's great. You're more profitable because every euro that comes through your website and not through an OTA, you save 2, 3, 4% revenue, which is pure profitability in that case. So this is really the part where we look at, and as I said, we are always concerned about showing transparent costs. These are numbers that are out of your systems. It's not numbers, again, from any sort of external supplier, not numbers from myhotelshop or whatever. That's, you might say, oh, can I trust those numbers? No, these numbers are your numbers. You can get those numbers out of your systems, which is quite transparent, and then you know that nothing is fake, it's real, and you really know what your true cost of your website is. And with that number again, go back to your owners, go back to your employees and show them, look, everything we do, direct business on your website is cheaper than whatever you do on OTAs and Expedia and so on. But it could also be that obviously your numbers are worse, right? And then you need to analyze why this is the case. Maybe you need to improve your website. Maybe you need to improve your booking engine. Maybe you need to improve your traffic acquisition. Yeah, there are many aspects of it, and that's exactly, in that case, what we at myhotelshop do. So if you wonder what our business model is, we very often speak with our clients. We consult them on how to increase traffic, on how to increase revenue, and then always show them and implement a true reporting so they always have transparency around their activities so they know what's going on. If you have any questions around this, feel free to drop me any questions through the chat. I'm more than happy to go into more detail if you like to. Otherwise, we obviously also have our team ready. So if you need anything from our team, feel free. You can also send them emails. Let me just briefly go on the chat and give you the email address of my team. Hold on, business@myhotelshop.com. They can write to, and people are more than happy because we, for all the webinar participants today, we actually provide this report for free. It's empty. You would have to fill it out yourself. If you need help, that's something we can talk about. But we nevertheless, for all the webinar participants, we give this report for free. Usually this report is only available to paying customers and to customers where we have a consultancy mandate like we do. But if you want it for webinars participants today, we give it out for free. Just write to that email address and you basically get a response. Also, obviously, if you need to understand a little bit better how we work and what we do, I'm more than happy to send one of my salespeople to your hotel so you can have a talk about what we do. Last but not least, also let me make a little chance to for small advertising. You might have the dream of going to Iceland once in your life. It's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. With my hotel shop and with my second company, Hotel Technology Forum, we organize a lot of events in Europe across the countries. We do also 2 events, one in Barcelona and one in Florence in October. Which we can also share with you, but we have one specific event in Iceland together with the Icelandic Hotel Association. It's a bar camp, which means it's an open session. We talk about innovative topics. We have great people there who will hold workshops. You can also hold your own workshop around your own topic. And the great news is you can stay in a 2-night hotel, in a 4-star hotel, plus entry ticket for the event for only €349, which I think is a great price for Iceland if you know how expensive it is. You might be able to come down, put it as a business trip and spend a few additional nights there. An additional night is €150 per night. Just let us know, go on hotelcamp.net and feel free to book your ticket. We already expect around 40 to 45 participants, roughly 10 to 15 from Europe. We have people from the UK, from Germany already signed up. The event will be in English, and I'm more than happy to meet you there. We can also have some personal exchange if you want. Otherwise, I thank you very much for today's webinar. If there are any questions, again, write us an email or drop us a small note via the chat. Other than that, I wish you a beautiful rest of the week and a great and successful change of your online reporting of your website.